all access, all the time. Sharing space together. When we come together online, we often don't feel connected to our land and can mistakenly imagine ourselves as disconnected from physical space. In reality, we join these virtual sessions from offices and homes built on the traditional, unceded lands of Indigenous tribes and peoples across North America. Disability Services would like to express gratitude for access to this beautiful, majestic land and for its caretakers. We also acknowledge that our shared virtual space exists because of physical infrastructure. Zoom servers connect us based on resources and availability. When you join us virtually, you're borrowing resources from other communities that make this sharing possible. If you don't know the Indigenous history of the land you occupy and would like to learn more, please visit native.land.ca. The University of Alaska acknowledges the Alaska Native Nations upon whose ancestral lands our campuses reside. University of Alaska Anchorage.
Denina, Atnadine, Alutik, Sukpiak, Chugachmute, and Eyak peoples.
University of Alaska Fairbanks.
Dina people of the lower Tanana River.
University of Alaska Southeast.
Tlingit, Haida, and Tsimshian peoples.
Welcome to the session.
Robert Gabriel is the founder and developer of Helperbird, which is a program that the Disability Services offices join together to provide for our entire UA system. And there is this great description of Robert and how he got started, but he says he has a great story about how he got started as well. So I'm going to leave that up to him to do his introduction.
Perfect. Can everyone see my screen before I start chattering? Perfect. Hi, everyone. My name is Robert James Gabriel. I'm so glad I'm able to speak to you today, and most importantly, be able to show you and talk about what Helperbird is, its story, and how it can help you in the classroom, but also on your day-to-day life on the web. So what I like to do here is tell you a little bit about myself and a little bit about Helperbird. And then I'll share my screen and kind of walk you through how to install Helperbird, go through the features. And today we're going to focus mostly on the reading and listening features, but we have so many wonderful features. It's kind of fun to explore them. But throughout this, there's two things I would like everyone to just be aware of. One is my accent. I'm originally from Ireland, which we'll get into. And if anyone needs anything reworded or ask me to re-say it again, please let me know. And the other thing is that all these features are fantastic, and that if there's any questions, I will pause kind of sporadically. So please leave them you can either write them or just speak out loud, and I'll be delighted to answer those questions as we go along. So who am I? I'm Robert James Gabriel, and I'm originally from Ireland. And I'm dyslexic, but I wasn't officially diagnosed until I was about 16 years old. And it was a very pinnacle moment in my life where I had kind of been struggling through school, but not enough to raise any major red flags. They thought I was just a little behind. Well, in Ireland, you do state exams when you're about 15 years old. And during a parent-teacher meeting, my teachers at the time told my parents they should consider taking me out of school and putting me into a trade, which is a good life in itself. But my mom, originally from Massachusetts, and my dad turned into Mama and Papa Bear, is a nice way to put it. They asked for permission to talk to the principal. They said something is clearly up with our son. Could you get him tested for just any learning difficulties or anything that might be going wrong? They were a bit hesitant initially because I didn't go to a well-funded school. But after a bit of back and forth, they decided they would get me tested and spend some funds on me. And the shock to no one, I was dyslexic. And in Ireland, once you have an official diagnosis, a few things happens. You drop Irish, you get access to a computer and you get to write your homework and exams on a computer and have use to the spell check. And most importantly, you get access to accessibility software that the school nor my parents could really afford to use. And this was life-changing for me. My grades improved. I did AP or higher level English to the shock of everyone, and I got average about 90 in my state exams. And it just turned my life around. I became more social. I became more confident, and I actually loved going to school. I share this little story because I'll come back in a second. I graduate high school. I go to college and I do an internship. And during the very first month, they told me to make whatever I wanted. So I decided to make a Chrome extension. And what that Chrome extension did was just change the font to Open Dyslexic, if you're familiar with that font. I uploaded it over a weekend, thought nothing of it. About a month later, 2,000 people started using it. And then 2 months later, about 8,000. And then if you've used the Open Dyslexic font or the Chrome extension, the owner asked me to create their extension. So if you've used that in the past, chances are you've used my work behind the scenes without realizing it. And then we'll skip forward a little bit. Helperbird kept on growing. We started getting more users, more suggestions, to the point where now we have over 30 different features, ranging from very complex ones such as summarizing, to integrations with immersive reader, rephrasing, word prediction, and natural speaking of voices. And today we're going to highlight some of those. But our goal at the end of the day is to give people and students the opportunity to unlock their full potential. That if you're in a classroom, doing a side project, doing work in the future, we want to give you the tools at a very affordable cost, and your school has it free for everyone, that they could use all these features and do your best work. So I do a lot of coding on the side. So we do other projects as well if you're interested on some fun ones, such as different cursors. But today we're going to mostly focus on Helperbird. I also love coffee. So our parent company is called Coffee and Fun. And I do have a cat who's around this office this morning. So if she pops up, her name's Coco, and she's quite large. And last bit of section before I start talking about Helperbird is that we are on Google Chrome, Microsoft Edge, Mozilla Firefox, Safari, both on desktop, iPad, and iPhone. We are also on Android, but you need to be using Microsoft Edge to fully use it. If anyone has any questions, you could also go on to helperbird.com. We have a live chat, and you could also do our YouTube, which we have 90-second videos on every feature, and we're always here to help. Reach out to us on TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, you name it, we're there, and we're always happy to help. Blue Sky, we're everywhere where you are. So I've talked quite a bit, so I'm going to change my slide to what is Helperbird and go into a little bit more depth, and then I'm going to share my screen and show you it in action. And when I do that, I'll pause sporadically. So if there is any questions, I would love to answer them, because at the end of the day, it's about what you guys want to see and what you guys want to get the most out of this. One second. Oh, I kind of talked about a little bit about this. So it's built for everyone. We're on multiple platforms, and you'll see a lot of fun features here today. So if you bear with me, and if there's any questions, I would love to answer them just while I set up my screen to demonstrate some features. Perfect. So what we're going to do today, in case people in this video call are not familiar with Helperbird, we're going to walk through every step. So I do not have Helperbird installed. So first of all, we need to go to helperbird.com. We're going to click on download, and you get the option to use different platforms. In my case, I prefer Google Chrome, so I'm going to click on Google Chrome. The UI and all these features are exactly the same. So we're going to click download. It will bring us to the store, and you'll see add to Chrome. So we're going to install it. It might ask you a permission, and this is the permission for our extension to interact with web pages. And we're going to click Add Extension. It will start downloading, and you'll normally get a pop-up there. That's perfect. So now if we go to our puzzle piece, you can see Helperbird is an option. And just to make things a little easier, I'm going to say pin it to my taskbar so it's always visible. And because I just installed it, any tab I had open previously, I just need to refresh it. So Helperbird is aware of it. And I'll refresh this one, and I'll refresh this blog post. So that is great. So we have Helperbird installed. You can see it's up here, and so you can see it's an off by default. So we're going to click it. You can see Helperbird is now open on the right-hand side, and it's on the free version. And just before we log in, we're just going to explain a little bit about the UI so people are familiar. Helperbird is broken up into 3 areas. We have our navigation, quick actions or favorites, and the list of all features. So what we want to do is we want to upgrade or activate the pro features. Currently we're on free, so we're going to scroll to the very bottom here, and you'll see settings. Then we're going to click open. A pop-up will appear, and we will then choose login. A new tab will open, and you could either choose the subscription key if you were given one, or you could choose the login with your Gmail account. One thing to note is that it is the same when we click this button. It will ask permission to know what email you're currently signed in on your browser. In this case, I'm logged in with a @Helperbird account, and it should show me as robert.gabriel@helperbird.com when I click this button. So I'm going to click it. They'll ask, hey, can we know what email you're signed into your browser with? And I'll say allow. It will open up a new page welcoming you. But if you go back, you can see it shows the email here. And if we go back to our Helperbird account, you can see it says Pro. But in your guys' case, it might say Unlimited. They are both the same. Unlimited just means it's on a school's or business license. That's great. So we have successfully downloaded and set up Helperbird to have access to all our features. Is there any questions so far before I start showing you the real wonderful features we have? And if not, that's totally okay.
I don't see any questions. We got a thumbs up though.
Perfect. So that is amazing. So what we're going to do here is I want to read this blog that we wrote about how to find times movies actually start and not have to sit through 20 minutes of trailers. If you're interested, you can go on to coffeeandfun.com to learn more. But what we want to do is start reading this page and make it a bit more accessible. So there's a few little features I'll show off on this particular page. What we need to do first is turn on Helperbird, because Helperbird has 2 stages. It has off, meaning no features or settings that you've applied will be applied to this page, and on, meaning any features you had on will be automatically applied when you go from different pages or different websites. We can do this by going to the top right-hand corner, and you'll see a toggle. And if we click it, it will say Helperbird running, and the little icon is now gone green, meaning Helperbird is active. And with that, we're going to start reading some text. There's multiple ways we can do this. We're going to start off a little simple, and then we're going to show you some more of the heavier hitters. We will toggle on a feature that I recommend called a highlight menu. And what this does is when I select any text on the page, such as this line, a tooltip will appear. And it has some great features. It has our text-to-speech, which I'll play, and we can customize this voice after.
Skip the trailers with this weird movie.
So it will read out. Then we have a dictionary that will brings the definition, nouns, and adverbs, and that also supports other languages as well. I'll quickly show this off. So I'll click dictionary. It'll start searching. You can see it brings up the nouns and how to use it in a sentence and any other related words that you could use instead of it. But then one of our biggest features in integrations is Immersive Reader. An Immersive Reader is a set of standards developed by Microsoft, and we've integrated them heavily. And this offers more opportunities to read, but also more voices as well. So we have multiple ways to access Immersive Reader, but we can highlight some text like this and click Immersive. It will then select that highlighted text and open it up in Immersive Reader. And if you're not familiar with Immersive Reader, we can do some really cool things here. First of all, we can click play.
Skip the trailers with this weird movie timing hack.
We can also change the voice and speed. So for example, I'm going to make it fast.
Skip the trailers with this weird movie timing hack.
And adjust it to how I would like it. If I would like it slightly slower or slightly faster. We can also customize the text size, increase spacing, change themes, of course, and any settings you apply will always be here when you reopen it. But then we can get into some real magic. We can start breaking up words into syllables. Sorry, I always butcher the pronunciation. I can put on nouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs, and show labels as different colors. This is extremely useful if I'm trying to learn a new language. And a great thing about this is if I come along and click a word, the picture dictionary will be underneath it. So it helps me understand what that word is, but we'll get to some more useful tips here. So if you go to the last section, which is reading preferences, we can actually translate this. So I'm going to say check, and we're going to do the whole document. So now it's translated this into Czech, but if I click on the word, it will show the English one underneath, and I can read them out or have it read back to me in Czech. So for example,
Přeskočte upoutávky s tímto podivným trikem pro načasování filmů. Přeskočte upoutávky.
And then what I can do, sorry, 1 second. I am not great with understanding which word is which. And then you can have it read back to you, of course. So the reason I show off Immersive Reader here is because we'll use it and see it again in a few moments. And that moment is now, actually. What we can do, instead of just highlighting text, is we can come along, if we had a whole document on a Google Doc or a PDF, we can just click Immersive Reader. And what this will do is take all the text automatically on that article and have it read out. So for example, I can start clicking play.
Hey friends. So here at Coffee and Fun, we're always doing fun little experiments. Some are tetchy.
And you can see how that works very nicely. Then we can close. And then the next feature I just wanted to show when it comes to this is that you might be kind of reading a lot of articles. You need to make sure what the general gist is that we can actually summarize this article to make it a bit more easier to understand, but also to make sure it's worth your time to read the full article. So we can click the summarize page, and then we can click summarize. And it might take a second or two, but this will be broken up into 3 to 4 bullet points. And we can also listen back. So this is brought back to our text-to-speech, and we can click play, have it read out to us. But we also have different voices along here as well. And you may notice that there's little flags next to them. The reason we do this is that if you were, say, studying French or German, and you had it as an American flag, it would be like if I tried to read German text. It would be me trying to read it as English text. But if you switch it to a flag of that language, it will read it out as if a native English or native German speaker was reading it in German. The words will be pronounced in German instead of trying to pronounce it as English words. And a few other nice things you can do is you can also change the color, the speed, the pitch, and the volume of the text-to-speech as well. And you could also do this. You could say, select this line and click play.
Skip the trailers with this weird movie timing hack.
And it'll select the text and read that out to you. And then one more I just wanted to show you. I just need to make sure it's here. And then if there's any questions at that point, I'd love to answer them before going on to our next few wonderful little tools. Is this one right here, simplify. Sometimes, even my own times during college, you'd be reading text that is sometimes overly complicated language is used to get a point. So what we built is a tool to simplify text, just to make it a bit easier. How this works is you click it, a modal will appear or a pop-up, and we can come along to any text and say, this one in particular, and we'll say we want to simplify this. So it might take a second or two. And this will simplify the text and try to remove any unnecessary complicated language while still getting the point across. You can also have it read back to you, clear it, and start fresh as well. Is there any questions so far on any of the features I've shown? And if not, that's totally okay. Perfect.
I was just going to say, people can raise their hands too, if that will help, instead of typing into the chat. So give them that option.
Of course, I should have mentioned. Thank you. So the next one I just wanted to show, just speaking of this, is our OCR. And this is a tool that is extremely popular for many different use cases. One of them in particular is the ability to, say, if you were taking a screenshot of a lecture notes or there was an image that had text in it, what this allows you to do is extract it, save it as a note, open it up in Immersive Reader, many different tools. People call this a screenshot reader. They call it text grabber, extract text, text snapper, I think Apple call it, but we call it extract text. And what I'll do here is we can extract text, and we have different options. We can save it as a note, a physical sticky note that will stay on this page until I delete it. We could have it open up Immersive Reader. We could translate it, read it back to us, and we also support English, Spanish, and Arabic alphabets. So just 1 second. And then I'm going to say, when this is done, I want to grab the text and open it up in Immersive Reader. So I'm going to click Start. I'm going to select this area, and it might take a second or two. And you can see it's taken that text from that image and opened it up in Immersive Reader, which is great. We'll actually do formatting, we'll do tables, and you name it. This is very handy that if a professor or a teacher was to provide you with a PDF that they might have photocopied from a book, that's technically an image. So what you could do is use this feature to get all that text out without you manually having to type it all out. I believe there was I was going to check real quick if there was a question. Oh no, that's just perfect. So the next features I just wanted to demonstrate is some of our reading features across the board and kind of supports. We have the ability to adjust text. So you can go to reading options, say choose font, and we'll pick, say, Comic Sans, and it will apply this font to every page I go to. We also have Lexant, which are fantastic fonts for readability if you have dyslexia, ADHD, or focusing difficulties. And then we also have Open Dyslexic, which we mentioned earlier as well. So for example, I'm on this page, and if I go back here, you can see it's already applied for me. Then we can also adjust the text size, the word spacing. So for example, you can make these much bigger. We can do line height, text alignment. We can do different colors, make the text green, the links blue, backgrounds red, you name it, we can customize it. And then we can also do paragraphs, which is very kind of useful. It will actually break up paragraphs and border them, so it's a little easier to follow and navigate. And then we have features that we would classify as kind of dyslexia as a whole. So what we can do here is add an overlay, and we can change the brightness, or we can make it lighter, and we can also change the colors of it as well. And for example, if I go back here, it's already applied. Then we have dyslexia rulers or reading rulers as well. These rulers are 3 different styles. These are very useful for, different styles of users. each have their own benefits. So we have the dyslexia ruler, which is we'll follow your mouse and we can customize it. So for example, we can make it bigger. We can change the color. We can change the brightness. And we can even have it at like a fixed position. Or we can have it at a solid position as well. Then our next one, and I just saw a question there. Yes, the college does pay for it, so you have access to all these features, and I'd be happy to show everyone how to log in again afterwards. After the dyslexia ruler, we also have the focus ruler, which will add an overlay that we can customize, but where your mouse is transparent. Then our next feature, or dyslexia ruler, is the reading guide, which is what people have nicknamed on our support forums is the old school method, which is a solid bar that will follow you along. And then I think one of my favorite ones, my last two features I just want to show you on terms of a blog, is the ability to translate this. So we're going to pick, say, Greek, and we're going to say translate website. And it's now translated this website into Greek, and I could switch it to other languages as well. And we can do it with a click. And then when we're done, we can go back to our original one. And then we have a feature, two features here that might be very important for people studying or taking notes, is we have the ability to use a highlighter. And we can come along to any page, so such as here, and click highlighter, we'll click purple, and then we can make this say red. And then all these will be saved, and if I refresh the page, they're always there. And then I can remove them, save them, export them to Google Docs, you name it, they're all here. And these are wonderful features that you can experiment with yourselves as well. Then we also have a feature that I mentioned briefly, is our sticky notes. And what our sticky notes does is it actually creates a sticky note physically on the page. You can change different colors. You can say hello, and we can give it a title, and we can move it anywhere on the page. And the great thing here is that this will save, be located in our notes section, and we can also, export these as well. Oh, perfect. Oh, sorry, 1 second. So then the next feature I think a lot of people will use is that we do have full PDF support. And what I mean by that is that PDFs by themselves can be sometimes inaccessible. So we try to make them more accessible. And what we can do is we have multiple ways. If you are given a file on, say, Google Drive or Gmail, you can click the Help Docs. Right, we can go to our Google Drive. In this case, our one here will open up. And you might be familiar with this view. And we can click Open With. And then down below, you see Helperbird. And once you do that, it will ask you, hey, which account are you using? We'll say the Helperbird one, the one I've logged in. It will then take that PDF, and this just might take a second, and it will take that PDF and open it here on the page. And now we can start selecting the text. We can start using all our features that we've kind of shown today on this page. We can say, summarize it. And we're going to summarize this page. And it's summarized into 3 to 4 bullet points. We can open it up in Immersive Reader. And then click play, of course.
How to log into Helperbird. Welcome to our guide on logging into Helperbird.
And use all our wonderful features here. And is there any questions so far about any features?
don't see any yet. Just Katie said these are great features, and Brenna figured out how to connect it to her Google account. So,
Oh, perfect. I see a raised
oh,
hand.
we have a hand. We have a
Oh.
hand.
Hi, I was wondering, so like if somebody scans, like a teacher, if they scan a document and upload it as a PDF, would Helperbird work to extract the text from the image of the PDF?
Yes, exactly. So just to explain to anyone else who might be interested is that sometimes on older scanners or photocopiers, they don't have a term called OCR supported, meaning if they scan a page, the text is technically an image. So most, say, readers can't access it. But you can come along and you can use the extract text, and we can go start, and then we'll select an area. For example, here, if this was a full image, and it'll say start looking for text, and then it might take a second or two, and then it'll open it up in Immersive Reader. And you could do that for images, such as if it was a document that was scanned. So the answer is yes. The one thing I do recommend for anyone who's interested on that feature is just make sure the beta is on here. It's just our next version of it that you get a little early. It's more accurate, and it'll also keep formatting. So if you had questions or you had tables, it will integrate those into it as well. Perfect. So what I thought I'll do next is just to show some of our other levels of customization. So we're going to go back here, and we're going to pick this blog post. So some of the other things we can do is we can do some display options. And what these do is they enable high contrast modes and different themes and options for that. We can also emphasize links, just to make them stand out a bit more. We can do cursor size. Let me make it the biggest. And then what we can also do, and these are features that I quite like to show off. They're nice hidden ones, especially for accessibility. So under media options, we have kind of two subsections. We have the media. And what these do is if you are on, say, Netflix, and you prefer videos and audio to be played back at, say, 75% speed, slightly slower so it can help you process them, or slightly faster if you just wish to get the truth quicker, we can turn this on, and then any audio or video player that you're playing will automatically play back or play quicker at that speed. So any audio I play will always be 30% faster. Or I can say I want to play back 50% slower. We can also have a volume booster that once enabled will actually allow you to go above 100% of max volume as well. We can also hide images and GIFs in case there was any flashing images or you just didn't want any images at all. And then one of my favorite features, and I'm just going to quickly switch, is the ability to show descriptions of images and links on a page. And what I mean by that is that we wish the web was always accessible and everyone did the best standards. But in reality, is some developers are lazy or don't care about accessibility. But thankfully that is changing. But just to make sure, you can turn on link descriptions and image descriptions here. And what we do behind the scenes is that we look through this web page, then we find any links or images, we look at their accessibility tags, and just make sure that they have something, be it so that when I come along, you can see it's visually showing the alt description. And if there is no alt description, we'll try to look for context clues of what that image should be and add it on the page. And if I come around to links, You can see they're visually on the page as well. And in an update coming pretty soon, if you hover over it, it will read it out to you as well. And this is just a reminder that if there's any questions, you could always raise your hand or type in chat as well. I'll be delighted to answer them. Then, one of the features I always like, oh, I think I saw a little message. I'll just double check. The next question, the next feature is one that I like to think I tested pretty well with my accent, is our voice typing, or sometimes people call this dictation support. So we'll click open, and we're going to click speak. Hello, my name is Robert, full stop. I am originally from Ireland, full stop. New line, new line. I have 2 cats who I brought with me. They came on a plane, full stop. One of them is quite large and the other one is quite skinny, full stop. And you can see it will read out to you, and it's written out what I spoke. And I can also have this read back to me if I wish. And I can also go back. I can have it copied. I can print it if I wish. And I can also clear it and start fresh. This will work on any page, and you can interact with it there as well. You could also take a screenshot at any point. That will take a screenshot of all your settings and save it. And then probably the last kind of section I would like to just show you is that throughout this demonstration, and there's so much more to explore and try out, is that we also have STEM support where you can have maths questions read out to you correctly and displayed, including formulas and chemistry. But throughout all this, we have been, taking notes and taking highlights. They're all stored in an area called our notes. You can see them stored here. But we understand that as people are doing classes and reports and notes, is that they will use Google Docs, or they might use Apple Notes or Notion or the preferred note-taking app. So we try to fit in a little area. We can come back here and we can click Open Editor. And what we can do is we've built our own small text editor. It has fully functioning for doing documents. Let me turn off the cursor. What we can do is create new documents, open documents, save, copy, delete. But where an area that it kind of really shines is these last 3. We have text statistics, where what we've written in our text editor will be broken down into, for example, the amount of words, the amount of sentences, the speaking time, the writing time, unique words, average characters, longest sentences, you name it, it's all here. How many paragraphs, the average word length is. But we can actually import our notes here. So these are some of the highlights and notes I've taken, including the date or website that I've saved them on. And then I can actually download those to a Word, Google Doc, text file, or Markdown file and continue on my work from there, which becomes very useful over time. And then probably one of my favorite ones, Chrome has a version of this built in, but we like to think we're first, is I'm just going to go to the BBC. And I'm just going to pick any article. Sorry. So it's always covered in ads here. Here we go. So this is great. You see how many ads are here and how many distractions? I can come along and click View in Reading Mode. And you can see it's removed all distractions and given me just the text and images and the content of this website. Then I can click play, pause, stop, use all my features on here in a nice distraction-free reading experience. And just like earlier, I can also use the immersive reader by using this button here. And then I could say, make this slightly smaller just for our demonstration.
On the 24th of March, 1944, 70.
So just adjust this slightly.
On the 24th of March, 1944, 76 Allied officers broke out of a German prisoner of war camp.
And you can see it's making it much easier to read this article. I know there's a lot here today. I thought I'd just highlight some of our most important features and kind of go through it and how to use Helperbird. But is there any questions so far or anything that people would be interested in? And if not, that is totally okay.
Hi, Robert. I had a question. I was wondering if you could, if Helperbird has any functions to check whether a PDF or a website is accessible. Like, could it be used for people wanting to improve the accessibility of their documents so that other people can access them?
That is a great question. Yes, we actually have a use case of users who use it for checking accessibility issues, is a nice way to put it. What a lot of people do, for example, sorry, I have a love-hate relationship with Zoom and their UI, is particularly with the display options. A lot of people will use these to emphasize like contrast controls. So for example, does it look good in high contrast? Does the colors blend in is a good way to put it. What they also do, a lot of people, is use the link and image descriptions and make sure that their links that they're using, for example, if I enable a link here, they all have it. And what we're doing, it should be out in about 2 to 3 weeks, is that if you use a PDF in particular, and we detect it's an image, we'll actually put a banner up there to let people know that this is an image that it might be inaccessible. And if you wish to use text, use the extract text feature. This is a kind of a side project. It will be free, and we'll probably include the features in here, is the ability to do like an audit of a content. So if you're publishing a book, a page or a website, and you missed alt descriptions or your missed title text and stuff like that, that you could run it and it'll display what's wrong. But that was a great question. Hopefully, did that answer what you were looking for?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I actually have been looking for something to help me check the color contrast because that's always something that I'm clicking manually but without any feedback. So I think that'll be really helpful. Thank you for going through that.
No, of course. And if you wish afterwards, if you go to the live chat or my email, which is robert.gabriel@helperbird.com or support@helperbird.com, I can actually send you on a guide of how to use the built-in one in Chrome as well. It's used for the web developers, but it's a little hidden. So I won't bore people today of going through the configuration to get it working.
Thank you.
There's just so much that Helperbird does. All right, I got a question sent to me directly. So the question is, does the volume booster tool have a built-in maximum threshold so sound is not distorted by users on playback?
Yes, it does. I didn't want to play it back here in case it disturbed, but what happens is if we go over what we consider the threshold limit, a big red bar pops up and says, just so you know, it will become distorted. Please ensure that you're comfortable with this. And it does a little warning before it's played. So yes, we could actually let it go much, much higher, but we don't do that just due to speaker safety and also people's eardrums as well. But that is a great question.
I have a question. So there's a lot of apps that can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Sorry, it's
Okay.
it's on my side. I can hear you perfectly.
Okay. There's a lot of apps that I have to go through and, newer things. I mean, read and write does not work. The last time I talked to the school, I have to call read and write to get something done to make it work for me. I have access to, like Alex in my math at the Alex program. But since I'm online, the school does not offer a reader for the math, right? So it seems like this might be something that's kind of an all-in-one. It's very difficult for me to go from, Speakify to this, to that, to PowerPoint, to Word, to all of this stuff, and remember it until the next time I have to go back to. So, for me, if this is an all-in-one kind of an experience, especially when it comes to writing, like I've got a couple of books I need to read right now, and I have difficulty in that area. And I went to find something that would read for me, and I didn't have anything. So if this program is kind of all inclusive, which is very cool, I would just use this pretty much exclusively, and I'd be happy because then I don't have to go try to navigate and remember where else I got to go to do something else. Is there somebody with your program or at the DSS department that can help me set this program up and just get it to the things I need it to do for now to get through this semester, let's say. And then I can experiment on it as I go, but I'm off and running and I know where to go to get this done to, I got to read this page. I got to highlight. All these things are very, very cool, but again, to get back and stop here, go over there, I just need a simple version of the program for now until I learn.
Absolutely. And that's where our end goal is, to try to be that one-stop shop.
Mm-hmm.
If the school it doesn't have a dedicated person, I would be delighted to, if we wanted to organize it next week, and I can jump on with you for 30 minutes and we can go through and make sure that you're set up and comfortable with everything. If you wanted to reach out to our live chat or support after this call, I'll make sure that's organized. And the one thing I always like to say is that software is never finished. And I used to be a project manager at a project. This is funny. I used to be a project manager at a project manager software company. It's kind of like Inception. What I always found and learned from there is that transparency is always the best. So what we do, a few things, is we have a public roadmap that you can see what we're working on, when it's being published, and when it's live. So if you find a bug or an issue, we always please stress to people, let us know, because if it's an issue for one person, it's an issue for 1,000 people. And we always try to improve and kind of make sure that we fix all these little bugs that will appear as the web changes. So as everyone explores here, including yourself, I would love to hear any issues you run into. Hopefully you don't have too many, but I would be delighted to help you get set up and so that you can try this for the rest of the semester as well.
I appreciate that, because navigating through, it takes me more time to navigate through programs and do things and find things and do this than it does to actually do the writing. And so, I it's like reading a book. I mean,
yeah,
I've read 3 books in my life, and other than textbooks, and it's not I hate to do it, but I like it when I can read it, highlight it, get the gist that I want to do or what I want to write on, and go on. I can do that, but there's limited tools to figure out. Or if somebody told me about it last semester, it's gone, it's forgotten, because I haven't used it and I'm on to something else. So, trying something. So yeah, if I can get somebody set up, and I would go to the live chat, I need to do something as soon as possible, just because I would start using it today in one of my classes. I have 3 assignments that I could talk to maybe the chat people about that I need to just concentrate on for now. And in doing that assignment with your program, I will learn as I go, right? But I'll have it all set up and have the knowledge to go, okay, now, maybe if I hit this one, because they said check the menu. Oh, that's cool. So I'm just trying to get basically set up with something that I can power through. And this sounds like a wonderful program.
Yeah, and we can get you set up after the presentation, Mark, as well. And I know you asked about math, and I am super interested since Robert has a math page up to see what it can do with math.
Well, I talked to you about this a while ago, and Alexa, the school doesn't allow Alexa for me to use a reader, even though I'm in Tucson, which is Alexa allows me to use, has allowed me to use it in school. So it's a school issue from what I think you told me.
I'm not quite sure what's happening with that.
Alexa's sorry. But yeah, I would love if I could talk to Brandon, maybe if he knows this, because I have a really good relationship with him, and we can just kind of set this up for me. I can really utilize it. And I hope I'm not taking up a bunch of other people's time, but
it's a great question.
Navigating is hard.
And the one thing I will say is, and we say this a lot, is that one of our biggest criticisms is that we have so much, so there's a small bit of a learning curve that we're always trying to help and try to improve upon. You know, if you use this for the first time, there's a lot of buttons, but once you get familiar with it, it's so powerful. And that I like to use the phrase, it's a matter of, you know, some people love Android, some people love iPhone. It's about finding the right tools and fit that make, you know, the experience better for yourself. So if you like, this goes to the college support. If you would ever want to just CC me in personally to any support tickets the school might get, I can always help answer any questions that, or help stuff like that as well.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
No, of course. And just because of the maths was brought up too, people may see on my screen, is I'm just going to demonstrate our kind of maths. Sorry, in Ireland we call it maths. I know here it's math, but it's hard to break it. But this is just a demonstration. We are always improving this. This section is relatively new to us, but what we found is that for math questions, some of it was being read incorrectly. So the traditional text-to-speech might say A2, but it should be A squared. Or they might say like / instead of divide, things like that. It's correct, but also incorrect in the current setting. So you may notice this lovely yellow button here, what we call Math Reader or Maths Reader. And if we click it, similar to our text-to-speech, it will ask, oh, 1 second. I was going to refresh here. There's a bug on my development one I'm aware of, so I had to close those 2 pages. So we'll click this, and it'll ask us to drag on the page, similar to our extract text or OCR. We'll pick this question here, and it might take a second or two. You can see it's grabbed that text, that maths question, formatted it for any computer science majors who might be in here. It's converted that image into a MathML format. And then when we click play, we have complete control over it.
6 divided by 2 open paren 1 plus 2 close paren.
And for example, if I do it again, but we'll pick here a little bit more complicated one. You can see it's kept it here too.
9 minus 3 divided by 1/3 plus 1 equals.
You can see how this is getting very useful. Again, we are still always improving this. So it is behind the scenes, we're also working on like we've introduced it and then we've unintroduced it as a beta, but we have the ability to help you step by step to solve those without giving you the answer as well. Is there any question? Oh, could you repeat that, Mark?
I said the answers would be great. But my other question would be, so can I pull, let's say, this Alex program, this math program that is in my class? Can I pull that into the reader so the reader's seeing exactly what I'm trying, to work on for that assignment? Or would I just type in the equation and it'll read back to me, which is fine as well?
That's a good question. I'm not 100% familiar with Alex or Alexis, so I don't want to give you an answer that is not correct. But from other maths programs that we've kind of used or interacted with, we kind of fit on top. So as long as you're able to select it on the page, it should be able to read it out back to you. But let that with me, and I will actually do a personal check myself and write up a support page that if we are supported on it or not, or partially as well. And what normally happens is that if we're partially or not too far off from being supported, we normally reach out to the company to see what we can do to make that happen.
We can experiment here in the disability office too to see if it will run on Alex. So.
Yes, that would be great. And if you could give me any of your feedback, if it is or broken, I would very much appreciate it.
Yeah, I can let you know.
No, but those have been excellent questions. Is there any other questions, Mark, or anyone else who might be here as well?
No, I'm good. I appreciate everything in the app. Looks like something I can use for a long time, so that's good.
No, absolutely. And as I say, software is never finished. So if you notice anything, I would love to hear it.
Okay, thank you.
And no, you're very welcome. And there's Helperbird, there's loads, as I've heard earlier today. Helperbird can do a lot. It's just about a matter of finding what features work for you. And one thing I always recommend is that on our YouTube channel, we do 90-second videos for each one. And we have a much more relaxing accent than myself that goes and does those videos as well. And they're all transcribed as well. I'm just going to check the chat real quick. I see a few messages. Oh, I see one here. This is pretty good. Sorry, 1 second. I see one here about Canvas and the work programs. We do work on them, but again, the actual setup of during exams is up to the college or their IT systems as well. But we do support Canvas, Quizlet, and other programs that might be using for testing as well. Is there any other technical questions in case there's any teachers or IT admins in here that would like to know? And if not, again, that's totally good. And you can always reach out to me after as well.
Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
No, thank you so much for the great questions too.
Yeah, I don't see any questions. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording and let people get on with their afternoons.